welcome to the Holy Meredith Show. Thank you for joining me again. I have some good news for those of you who wish to give me some information that you would like me to share. We have a phone number. The phone number is 405-652-9946. That is also 405-652-WWHM for Holly Meredith. So you're actually calling Holly Meredith's personal phone number. I welcome people who agree with me. I welcome those who do not. I like a good argument, so if you have a case to make, please let me know. If you just want to call up and bitch and complain and moan about things you don't agree with, I'm not interested in that. Thank you, TeaPartyCommunity.com, for being such faithful fans of mine, for spreading the word, for putting the shares out, for always tuning into my shows. I'm excited to have you as my fans. And we need to make sure the rest of the country falls in line, and they need to fall in line, like immediately. Just a few little bywords to start the show, because you know how much disdain I have for dear leader, that communist sitting in our White House. Reliable sources tell me today that dear leader does sit to pee. Doesn't come as a surprise to me, but it might come as a surprise to you. And that in the background is our clock running on our country while we still have any freedom. Remember, America is a country that was founded on an idea of personal liberty and freedom. The only country in the world that was ever founded on an idea, which is why our Constitution is so important. We are the only country that has one. I'll have to keep on yelling. Next, I want to explain a little bit about our programs and why you have to ignore Democrats. Not one other Democrat ever should ever get elected for office in this country. Not one. Obamacare, Obama mess, Obama scam, is now the law of the land. Although remember, this dear leader only makes sure the laws that he likes are the ones that are affected. If he doesn't like the law, he ignores it, like our border. If he doesn't like the law, even though the Supreme Court, the Supreme Communist Court, even though the Supreme Communist Court says that yes, you should have voter ID if you vote, he doesn't like that. So he sends his top cop, Eric Holder, down to say you don't have to do that. Primary progressive programs are envy, greed, and slothfulness. Envious because they can't have what other people have and they want to take it away from them. Greed because they never have enough. We sent $3.7 trillion of our money to the government this year, more money than anyone in the world has ever seen in 1 year from one country, and yet it's not enough. No, not enough. They want to raise your gasoline tax by 15 or 20 cents a gallon. Do you think you'll be able to get to work? But this thing doesn't care. After all, he has limousines that we pay for. He's not going to be on a bicycle. He's not going to have to walk or take a bus. He's not going to have to carpool, so he doesn't care how you get there, or even if you get there. He's all for unemployment and food stamps. Half the country is on food stamps because we don't have any jobs. We have inflation rampant. You can thank the Federal Reserve for that. We have a very bad economy, less than 2% growth, and going the wrong way, the opposite direction. The NASA spy system says they can listen to every single conversation in the country at any time, 24/7, and also foreign countries they can listen to at any time. But not if the word Benghazi appears in the conversation. For some reason, they can't hear those conversations. Can you hear me now, NSA? Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. For the last freaking time, they were watching it live. There is a live video recording of everything that took place that night from a drone that was in place above Benghazi. They know who the perpetrators are. They know what happened. They know who's responsible for our men's deaths. Remember when dear leader said he was going to get to the bottom of this? Well, he is at the bottom of this. He's the one responsible for the first time in our country's history of leaving our men behind. And he made that call. There is no one else who has that authority. Only dear leader can do that. This is important for you to pay attention to. Today in our Supreme Court, and it may have already happened because I haven't been watching the news, I've been recording. Today, in front of our Supreme Court of communists, we are hearing First Amendment rights. Hobby Lobby is under attack, open assault, because Hobby Lobby does not want to have to pay for any kind of contraception for its employees, because Hobby Lobby is a Christian company that does not believe in this. It's a normal right of a private business. If you want to work for Hobby Lobby, you know it's a Christian company and they have certain values, whether you like it or not. You don't have to work for Hobby Lobby, and they shouldn't have to pay for your contraception. Keep your zippers zipped. And stop sleeping with everybody you meet for 5 minutes. Maybe you won't need so much contraception in that case, but in any case, we shouldn't have to pay for your contraception. Pay for it yourself. Or better yet, just don't have sex. We'll all be better off if you don't reproduce. Here is more proof of why November 4th is important for us. This is a midterm election year. Keep that in mind. You can remove the communist government we now have if you all get off your fat butts and go and vote. Yes, you can. Yes, you can do that. But you have to get up and go and do it. Is it too much to ask? Once every 2 years that you vote for your country and for the people that you want leading you? Or do you want a repetition of Obamacare? Because the people in power now want you to have no rights, want you to give them all your money, want you to have no kind of an existence other than the one they dictate to you, because we have a dictator in the White House. We don't have a president of the United States, and we haven't had for a long time. We have an illegal, communist, disbarred attorney, Muslim, whatever you want to call him. That's what we have. He spends his days dismantling the finest military the world has ever seen and giving billions of dollars to our enemies around the world. Yes, he does. And yet nobody stops him. He just does it. He just gives 55 million to Libya, 75 million to Syria, 45 million to Egypt, although they gave it back. They don't want it because they don't want him. They want nothing to do with him. Just kidding. I'm not really kidding. We don't want anything to do with him either. You have to pay attention to what this person is doing to your country. You do live here, right? Okay. In front of the Supreme Court today, they're going to make a decision. Elena Kagan, Sotomayor, and Ginsburg. Ginsburg is older than God, although she doesn't believe in God. These are 3 atheist communist judges on your Supreme Court. Elena Kagan should not even be voting. Elena Kagan, in front of her confirmation hearing to become a Supreme Court justice, said if she became a court justice and if Obamacare came in front of the court, that she would recuse herself, which means take herself out of the voting. Well, she did get to be a justice, and it did come in front of the court, and she did not recuse herself. Typical lying communist progressive that we've come to expect. So today, she's going to get to vote on your liberties and your freedoms and your First Amendment again. There is nothing to vote on here. We have a First Amendment. It shouldn't even be in front of the court. It's our right. And we have rights. Rapidly disappearing, dwindling rights, but we have them at the moment. So these elections on November 4th this year, you have to go and vote. 433 of our House representatives are up for election. All 33 Senate members are up for election. You can overturn the supermajority that Harry Reid has, because Obama has all of his power because he has a supermajority in the Senate. The House passes bills every single day that never get to the floor to be voted on because Harry Reid never lets them be voted on. Now, Harry Reid's great-great-uncle was a horse thief in Montana, so apparently he's learned how to be a criminal in his blood. But Harry Reid blocks all of these actions. So when people tell you that the Congress doesn't do anything and Republicans don't do anything and the House doesn't do anything, it's because Harry Reid stops it. You have the ability to remove Harry Reid and remove your communist Senate by removing the members that are up for election. Not one more Democrat should ever be elected in this country, ever. They are so responsible for the destruction that you are seeing everywhere around you. We're in a depression. We're in a depression. If you didn't have unemployment benefits and food stamps and Social Security, you'd be having rioting in the streets because nobody has any money except Obama's friends, Obama's political contributors, because he gives back all of your money to them in special EPA grants and including the DREAM Act for all the Hispanics like La Raza that he wants in the country. Remember this, we don't have a border. We have no borders because he does not enforce our laws about the border. That's why Obamacare shouldn't be enforceable either. A president doesn't get to pick and choose the laws that he wants to go with. He has to do all of the laws at one time, and this president only does the ones he likes. We have no foreign policy. We're responsible for the Ukraine. We agitated that whole disaster, and we're still agitating it. It's our doing. It's our money. It's our military advisors to put Muslim governments in place around the world, although we already have one pretty much here. If you're not paying attention, it's because you're not breathing. I've said that before. Look around you. Are you happy with what's going on? Our military capability is being dismantled to the point where it was prior to World War II. Does that make you feel safe and secure? Because it shouldn't. At the same time, again, billions of dollars of your money are being sent to your enemies all around the world. I want you to think about this long and hard because it's important. The decision is yours. You can change your government, but you have to do it. No one can do it for you. And if you don't start voting in earnest and exercise the greatest privilege you could ever get, you'll lose that privilege because they can't wait to take it away from you. One of these days, if you don't start voting en masse, you won't be able to vote at all. The decisions will be what they are at the moment, dictatorship decisions, when he just says this is the way it's going to be, whether you like it or not. And he pretty much does that. Again, it's because he's black or half black or black and white or whatever it is he is. But they won't say anything or do anything to him, not because he's a great president. He's a laugh. He's a joke. He's a farce. He's a clown. He's illegal. He's a communist. He's a Muslim. Can I go on? And now the same progressive people that elected this thing want to put Hillary Clinton in the White House. Again, her only claim to fame is she was married to a president who was impeached for having oral sex in the Oval Office. You like that? Because that happens to be true. Of course, nobody talks about that anymore. He also was disbarred because he lied under oath. Are these people that you want leading the greatest country in the world? I don't want them leading anything. I don't want them being in front of a tortilla line. They are awful. They are terrible people. They are communists. They want to destroy this country and bring it down to the same level as the rest of the world. Now, this clown wants to give away the internet. It's ours. We developed it. We run it. We are in charge of it. It belongs to the United States of America. We allow other countries to use it. We are gracious in that. This clown wants to give it away and let them have it. And the bad news about that is you will end up having a tax within 6 to 9 months from the UN, the United Nations. You will end up having a tax from them of maybe only a nickel on every transaction you do when you go online. How many times a day do you go online? How many times a day do you buy something online? How many times do you send an email? How many times do you do 101,000 things on the email? A nickel transaction every time you do it. And the way this fool will arrange it is that money will come out of your tax refund or out of your bank account directly, because now that you've joined Obamacare by force, which is completely unconstitutional, they have all of your information. They know where all your bank accounts are. So whether you like it or not, that debit's going to come across your bank account every month if you use the internet. And the other bad part about that is countries like China and Iran and Transylvania and Russia and Uzbekistan and all these very, very totalitarian countries will block whole segments of information from their populations. So their populations will know nothing, a lot like North Korea. North Koreans don't know that people eat. I bet you didn't know that. North Koreans starve every day. They starve to death because they have almost no food. We send them food, like we send everybody food. We send them food, but he doesn't give it to his people. He sells it to other countries. So he makes money on food we give them as foreign aid to supposedly help the people who live in North Korea, who are starving to death every day because they get no information. They think the rest of the world is just like their country. Ha! The way it's going, maybe it soon will be. So if you allow, and you don't have to allow, if you cause a big enough stir like you did with the amnesty and you stopped that last year, which you did, if you cause a big enough stir about this, you can stop it. You won't hear about it on your lamestream communist-controlled media. Oh no. No matter what this thing does, they love him. I mean, they love him. If you say to somebody, but he just did this, this is what you'll get. Oh, no, Barack wouldn't do that. You can't say anything about him that's negative. They refuse to hear it. They'll be saying that when they're dragged off to be gassed in a gas chamber, because they'll still be saying, oh, no, Barack wouldn't do that. Of course he would. He sees nothing about us that's important or good. He's a Kenyan. He wasn't born in our country. His father was a communist, his mother was a communist, his grandparents are communists, his friends are communists. He's a Muslim. They don't identify with America. Nothing about America is what they like. Nothing. And you know, most of the countries that wound up like China and Russia, they had huge purges of people who didn't agree with them. You didn't agree with the way they were going, you got killed. And that is what happened in China. Children were taught to kill their parents. Taught to kill their parents. And by the way, Bill Ayers, who is one of Obama's best friends, one of the people who writes his books for him, Bill Ayers believes in the same thing. If you go back to the 70s when he was one of the original terrorist weathermen, which he was, if you go back then, you're going to see that he says in his books and his writings at the time, and believe it or not, he is a tenured professor. If you go back and read what he says, kill your parents. He says it right up front, out loud and bold. He is an avowed communist. He is a mentor of what's sitting in our White House. So if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, acts like a duck, hey, it's a duck. So just be clear on that. What we have in the White House is a person who is completely interested in taking our country apart and is getting away with it. This is what I can't believe on a daily basis. I say to anybody that will listen, a person that I work with, her name is Amanda. She is a college graduate, and I'm telling you now, she is dumber than dirt. The girl is so stupid, I can't believe she gets dressed in the morning. And she is a college graduate. She knows nothing. Amanda's 26 years old and might as well never have been on the planet. She knows nothing. She knows the size of the Kardashians' butt. She knows who had sex with whom. She knows that their baby North has never been seen in public because it's so god-awful ugly. This is done to you on purpose. It's to keep you as a country distracted with nonsense so that you don't pay attention to what's actually going on in your country as your freedoms are whittled away one by one by one. Almost every newspaper, television station, and movie, and we'll now get into Noah, and movie, is propaganda. You are being propagandized morning, noon, and night because they want you to be distracted, to look at this nonsense. Baby North apparently is so ugly she's never been seen in public. Why would you have a baby, I have to ask? Why would anyone have a baby with Kanye West? One of the ugliest people on the planet. He may be a talent, I don't know, I can't stand his music, but I guess if you like bunga, 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 I guess you like Kanye West because that's what his music sounds like. Back to the jungle. But anyway, bottom line is, this is what's important. Please, people, I'm begging you. I don't have a lot of time because I'm constantly running from the authorities. This is what's so important. Get up and vote. The vote is coming. The 4th of November. It is quintessential. It is important. It is your country. What else matters to you? If you don't have a country, what the hell do you have? Are you all mushrooms? Are you all kept in the dark and fed bullshit? Apparently you are, because if you don't get up and go and vote, 1 million retired military here in Florida can make the difference. You can throw these bums out of the Senate. All of them. So that you can get control of your country back again. I am asking you as a fellow American, as a person who loves their country, as somebody who's willing to put it all on the line, which I do every time I do a show. I'm willing to put it on the line. Can you not at least get up and vote? Is this too much to ask from a country that was forged with 8 years of revolutionary war and pain and sorrow and bloodshed, which I'm going to annotate in my book, Red, White, and Blue? The only colors that count. When you see a flag, your heart should beat faster. When you hear about a soldier who's died, you should feel compassion and sympathy and want to help them any way you can. When you hear about Kim Kardashian's butt, you should turn the goddamn television off. I don't know what else to say to get your attention. It is important. It matters. It is your country. You are completely out of control having this person run it. And you can get rid of him. And I say you will. And I say you'll take the Senate down as well. Don't let them trick you this time. Believe what I'm telling you, not the nonsense you're hearing. This is Holly Meredith. I'm getting ready to close my show. I'm grateful that you're listening to me. I hope you take my message seriously. I'll be back on next week, and we're soon starting another 2 or 3 times a week. And again, my phone number, in case you missed it from the beginning, happens to be 405-652-9946. Holly Meredith signing off.